week. Stephen A., is Sunday's game against the Raiders a make-or-break game for Shedeur's future with the Browns?
It's absolutely a make-or-break game for his future with the Browns. I mean, I'm not going to say the future in the NFL because there's always somebody that might give you a second chance and grab you. But in terms of his future in Cleveland, it's this Sunday. He cannot look like trash. He cannot go out there and complete 25% of his passes. He cannot look lost and completely discombobulated. And we're not going to throw out excuses about him not having any reps with the first team. And I'm not saying this negatively towards him. I don't believe he was put in a position to succeed the other day. I don't believe he's been put in a position to succeed with the Cleveland Browns. I view the Cleveland Browns as a house divided, where whether it's the offensive coordinator and the head coach having a different view than the GM and the owner or whatever it is, I don't know what the hell is. If you are a two-time coach of the year and you're universally recognized by football aficionados such as yourself as being one of those elite coaches in the game, and somebody is put out there and looks completely lost from the quarterback position, who is a QB2.
Stephen A. Smith did not hold back for even 1 second. The moment he leaned forward and said, Shedeur Sanders is walking into a make-or-break situation with barely any preparation, the entire NFL world paused. Because when Stephen A. drops something like that, it is never random. There's always a larger message hidden inside. A warning. A reality check. And in this case, a spotlight on a situation that should have every Browns fan asking one thing. What is really going on in Cleveland?
What am I to make of that? What are we to make of that? Could you educate us about that? Because I don't know anywhere else to go. I've seen bad play. Yeah. I've seen bad quarterbacks. And also, and you can make, to me, the greatest argument you can make in favor of Stefanski is that as good as he is, somehow, some way, we're not going to accuse him of being a quarterback whisperer, because since he's arrived in 2020, even though he's won 2 Coach of the Year honors, this is going to be his 13th starting quarterback. 13. Damn, you can't figure out something? I guess that's an argument to make in his favor that that's not his strength with quarterbacks, but that's all you can say, because nothing else makes sense to me as to how a guy playing under his stewardship could be a QB2 and could go out there and look that damn lost. I don't understand that.
He made it clear. Shedeur did not just struggle. He was sent out there in a situation that almost guaranteed struggle. A rookie quarterback making his first NFL appearance with no rhythm, no timing, no trust built with the first team, and the Browns still threw him out there like he was supposed to magically make it all work. That is where this story begins, and that is where everything starts to unravel. Like and subscribe right now. If you love Shedeur, then comment SS 100%.
Shedeur Sanders has been confirmed as the Cleveland Browns starter in Week 12 against the Las Vegas.
The coach wants one thing. The front office wants something else, and the locker room deals with the confusion that follows. And Shedeur Sanders, a young quarterback who should be developing in a stable situation, is caught in the middle of it. That is not normal. That is not how successful teams operate. That is not how you protect your investment.
This Sunday, he cannot look like trash. He cannot go out there and complete 25% of his passes. He cannot look lost and completely discombobulated. And we're not going to throw out excuses about him not having any reps with the first team. And I'm not saying this negatively towards him. I don't believe he was put in a position.
When Stephen A. says something is off, you pay attention. Not because he is always right, but because he knows when something does not add up. And nothing about the Browns quarterback situation adds up right now. How does a coach with 2 Coach of the Year awards send out a rookie quarterback with no real first-team reps, then act surprised when he looks unprepared? How does the front office push a quarterback they drafted in the 5th round into a pressure moment without making sure every piece around him is ready? How does the team decide that this is the week to test him instead of easing him in? These are the questions fans are asking. These are the questions the media is asking. And these are the questions the Browns themselves cannot afford to ignore. Because when your own analysts start saying your quarterback looks like he was set up to fail, that is not a small rumor. That is a flashing red warning light.
Succeed the other day. I don't believe he's been put in a position to succeed with the Cleveland Browns. I view the Cleveland Browns as a house divided, where whether it's the offensive coordinator and the head coach having a different view than the GM and the owner or whatever it is, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I don't believe he's in a place where collectively they are doing everything that they can to ensure his success. Dio, I know your position on this, and I know you're diametrically opposed to what I'm saying. Respectfully, I don't give a damn. You have a coach in Kevin Stefanski who is a two-time coach of the year. This man knows what he's doing. I respect the hell out of Kevin Stefanski. There is no way that you can send a quarterback out there looking that damn lost, not having any cadence, any reps whatsoever with the first team. No way.
You know what makes this even more alarming? Stephen A. did not base his comments on sources or leaks or whispers from insiders. He based it on something more powerful. He based it on what he saw with his own eyes. He watched Shedeur walk onto that field and look like a quarterback who was thrown into the deep end without knowing how cold the water was going to be. He watched him try to make reads without having timing with his receivers. He watched him get pressured without knowing how the line reacts. He watched the body language of the team and the reactions on the sideline, and he knew something was off. And here's the wild part. Shedeur is not the type of quarterback who looks lost. Not at Colorado, not in college, not in high-pressure games. If anything, he's known for composure, for staying calm in chaos, for reading defenses with patience, for stepping up when the moment is big. But none of that showed up in his first NFL appearance because none of that can show up when a quarterback does not have what he needs to succeed. Now ask yourself this. Was this just bad game planning? Or was this a deeper issue inside the Browns organization? Because Stephen A. was careful to say he was not accusing anyone, but he also said the words that caught everyone. It looked like a setup. Not a conspiracy, not intentional sabotage, but a situation where the circumstances made success nearly impossible. And when that happens in the NFL, people start asking questions.
That's what happened. And I don't think that's an accident. That's just my personal opinion. I don't report on the Cleveland Browns. I'm not coming from a knowledgeable and informed perspective here. I haven't gotten word from anybody. No, this is just me watching what I watched, seeing what I saw, and looking at how inept a talented quarterback like Shedeur Sanders, at least when I saw him in college, was as in his first pro debut when he came in after Dylan Gabriel.
What exactly did the Browns expect Shedeur to do when his first time working with the starters came during the actual game? What exactly were they hoping for when he hadn't built chemistry with the receivers? What were they testing? His raw talent? His improvisation? His ability to survive chaos? None of those things are solutions when you're trying to build a long-term quarterback. This is where the story gets deeper, because this next game against the Raiders is not just a game for Shedeur. It is a reflection of the entire Browns' future. Stephen A. said it. If Shedeur looks lost again, if he repeats a performance like the one against Baltimore, the entire city of Cleveland will turn on the decision-makers, and the narrative will shift from Shedeur struggling to the Browns failing him.
Now he's getting those reps because Kevin Stefanski has said he's starting this weekend. Now we're going to see. I'm not telling you got to go out there and look like a star or anything like that. But he cannot look completely clueless. He cannot look lost. It cannot replicate what he did that past weekend, and he's still going to have a future in Cleveland. I don't believe it for 1 second. That's what I believe is on the line right now when we're talking about Shedeur Sanders.
That changes everything. That dictates how the locker room views leadership. That determines whether players trust the coaches. And most importantly, that decides how long Shedeur will remain in Cleveland. Because a young quarterback needs stability, not chaos, not politics, not confusion. When a team fails to give a quarterback their best support from the start, the relationship rarely survives. Now think about this. Shedeur was a 5th-round pick, not a top 5 pick where the team is fully committed, not a 1st-round pick where they're building the team around him. 5th-round picks have to fight. They have to earn respect. They have to prove they belong. And that makes the support system even more important. You can't expect a 5th-round rookie to outperform the circumstances placed on him if those circumstances were stacked against him from the start. That is what Stephen A. was trying to say. He was not attacking Shedeur. He was not criticizing the kid. He was pointing out the reality. The Browns did not prepare him for success. They prepared him for failure. Whether intentionally or through mismanagement, the result is the same.
All right, so here's... Stephen A., when you kind of talk about Stefanski and your, at least, vantage point of how he's handled the situation, my pushback to you is this. You could sit in one breath and say, tons of respect for, and then also say, you're making it sound like it's intentional. And that's a relatively big assumption, correct? Like when you say two-time coach of the year, but you can't trot him out there like that, and you feel like you're setting him up to not have success, you're making it sound intentional. And I think that's
fine. Okay, fine. That's fine. What I would say to you in response directly, Dan, is this. If you are a two-time coach of the year and you're universally recognized by football aficionados such as yourself as being one of those elite coaches in the game, and somebody is put out there and looks completely lost from the quarterback position, who is a QB2.
And now, everything rests on this upcoming game. Do you understand how insane that is? A rookie quarterback playing his first official start is already fighting pressure. But Shedeur is not just fighting pressure, he's fighting a narrative. He's fighting public perception. He's fighting doubts from analysts. He's fighting the idea that the team may not be fully behind him. This is the moment that separates quarterbacks who make it from quarterbacks who fade away. And the entire country will be watching. This is what Stephen A. meant when he said Shedeur was stepping into a make-or-break situation. This is not about the Raiders. This is not about the box score. This is about the perception inside the building. When a rookie struggles, teams start ranking their quarterbacks. They start evaluating whether the rookie can lead the franchise. And when the team has multiple quarterbacks already on the roster, the competition is even tougher.
What am I to make of that? What are we to make of that? Could you educate us about that? Because I don't know anywhere else to go. I've seen bad play. Yeah. I've seen bad quarterbacks. And also, and you can make, to me, the greatest argument you can make in favor of Stefanski is that as good as he is, somehow, some way, we're not going to accuse him of being a quarterback whisperer, because since he's arrived in 2020, even though he's won 2 Coach of the Year honors, this is going to be his 13th starting quarterback. 13. Damn, you can't figure out something? I guess that's an argument to make in his favor, that that's not his strength with quarterbacks, but that's all you can say, because nothing else makes sense to me as to how a guy playing under his stewardship could be a QB2 and could go out there and look that damn lost.
Dylan Gabriel, for example, looked more composed, more comfortable, more connected to the offense. Why? Because he had the reps. He had the rhythm. He had the preparation. He was given something Shedeur was not given. And when Stephen A. points out that Gabriel looked like he understood the little things better, that is not a knock on Shedeur. That is a knock on the Browns system. A team with a stable quarterback plan does not allow this kind of imbalance. A team with a clear vision does not confuse development with experimentation. And a team that wants to groom a rookie does not send him out there unprepared. So let's talk about the real question. Do you think the Browns are truly committed to Shedeur Sanders? Or does this look like a franchise trying to justify decisions that they already regret? That is the question I want you to answer in the comments, because fans always see things before analysts do. You see the body language. You see the sideline reactions. You see when something feels off. Another major problem Stephen A. called out is the history of the Browns quarterback position. 13 different starting quarterbacks under Stefanski. 13! When does that stop? When does stability begin? When does the franchise finally say enough? Because when you have that many quarterbacks cycle through the system, it becomes impossible to develop consistency, impossible to build trust, impossible to create long-term success. And now, Shedeur Sanders is number 14, the new rookie thrown into the same revolving door. Is it fair? No. Is it reality? Yes. Does it mean he cannot succeed? Absolutely not. But what it does mean is that the Browns have to do something they haven't done in years. They have to commit fully, publicly, and consistently. And that commitment starts now. Not next week, not after the season, not when the fans demand it. Now. If the Browns truly believe Shedeur is the future, this game against the Raiders is their chance to prove it. Give him the reps, give him the preparation, give him the system, give him the trust. Because if he goes out there and plays with confidence, reads the field, makes quick decisions, and shows improvement, then the narrative flips. Suddenly, it's not about sabotage. It's about growth. It's about leadership. It's about a young quarterback rising through chaos and proving he belongs in the NFL. And that story is powerful. That story changes everything. But if the Browns repeat the same mistake, if they send Shedeur out there with the same lack of preparation and he struggles again, the story becomes permanent. Analysts will say he's not ready. Fans will say he's not the guy, and the Browns will face the same criticism they faced for years, mismanaging quarterbacks until they have no choice but to draft another one. Shedeur deserves better than that. Any rookie deserves better than that. Because a quarterback is only as good as the situation he is placed in, and Stephen A's entire message was simple. The situation right now is flawed. Here's where we get into the deeper angle. What if Shedeur shocks everyone? What if the kid walks into Vegas and plays the best game of his young career? What if he silences every doubt and forces the Browns to make him the starter? What if the pressure becomes fuel? What if the chaos becomes clarity? This is the beauty of the NFL. A player can go from questioned to respected in one game, one throw, one moment. Shedeur has that chance right now, and if he takes it, the entire league will have to rethink everything. Instead of being the rookie who looked lost, he becomes the rookie who overcame everything. Instead of being the quarterback people doubted, he becomes the quarterback people root for. So let me ask you directly, do you believe Shedeur Sanders can do it? Do you think he can rise above the noise? Do you think he can carry this pressure and flip the narrative? Put your thoughts in the comments because I want to hear what the real fans think, not just the analysts. This is bigger than the Raiders. This is bigger than Cleveland. This is about a quarterback fighting for respect in a league that does not wait for anyone. This is about a young man stepping into the spotlight with the entire world watching. And this is about a franchise that must decide if they want to keep repeating history or finally break the cycle. Stephen A lit the match. The fire has started. Now the question is simple. Will the Browns let it burn everything, or will they finally build something stable around their quarterback?